Okay, so here's where I typically keep my books. I have this little cart, my little book cart. I have all my books here, some miscellaneous stuff down there. I still haven't put this one in there because it's a new one. I'm trying to sort them all out. I also have some up here. So I have limited space, so I typically don't tend to buy physical books. I've been reading on the Libby app, but I've made a couple of exceptions now that I have the little bar cart, and I love how it looks. It's so cute, just like in the corner of my closet there. This is what Brandon gave me for Halloween. That's sitting there for now too. I have limited space in this area, but I do what I can with it. Hi everyone, welcome to another vlog. As you can see, I got all cozied up. I actually just got off from work like half an hour ago, and I got home. I put on the kettle, my little electric tea kettle, to make myself some hot tea. I got that pumpkin one from Trader Joe's, as you guys saw. I have it right here on my little nightstand. I'm waiting for it to cool down a little bit more, but I just wanted to sit down, get a little bit cozy, comfortable with you guys here in my room. The only thing I do want to apologize for is my LED lights. They create these little lines that go up and down on the screen. I don't know if there's anything I can do about it, but this is like my only source of light in my room, which I do need to upgrade at some point. I need to buy some actual lamps and maybe get rid of the LED lights. I do like the vibe of it, but as you can tell, it's not ideal for filming, but I still got some of my other little night lights around here, hoping I can create some more lighting, but still keep that like cozy ambience. Anyway, I just wanted to sit down with you guys since I didn't really have much to vlog for the weekend. It was not the best weather, and Brandon and I were kind of just enjoying our time together. We weren't really filming much. He had some of his family over on Saturday, so I had to make a little bit of time to film a vlog on my own here at home. And today I just wanted to do something a little bit cozy, comfy. So I just put together some clips of me getting situated for this little book talk. I figured maybe I would give it a shot and see if you guys like it or not, if this is something that you would like me to do as like a monthly thing, because at the speed that I read, I wouldn't be able to do it as often, just as I go along and either get more books or read more books. And some of them might be on the Libby app, some of them might be physical books, but anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, for a book talk, I just wanted to show you guys some of the books that I have read recently, because there's so many books that I read already in the beginning of the year to this point, but I just wanted to focus on the most recent ones from the last couple of months, plus books that I'm hoping to read by November and December, some of my new purchases, and just share all of that good stuff with you guys. Maybe inspire you guys to get some of these books if you've been looking for something else to read, yada yada yada. But here are my books. I have them on the side here. These are a few for now, just to get us started for today's video. I'll start off with the ones that I've already read, starting off with the ones from October. First off is going to be The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. This is what the cover looks like. Super cute fall, cozy vibes. I enjoyed this book more than I thought I would because I had seen mixed reviews about it. People were saying that it was kind of mundane, kind of boring, that there was nothing really exciting about it, that it was very Hallmark movie, but I personally didn't have a problem with that because sometimes I just want a cozy book that I can turn my brain off to and escape into somebody else's reality, quote unquote reality. I know these are fictional characters, but I mean, they come from inspiration from either the author's personal life or something that they conjured up that maybe a friend went through or something like that. So it's fun to just kind of tap out of your own reality and go into somebody else's, like someone else experiencing love for the first time, finding somebody for the first time, and you know, moving to a whole new place. So basically this is just about this girl named Jeannie who ends up taking over her aunt's coffee shop after her aunt decides that she's just gonna retire and go travel, go on a cruise, whatever it was that she went to do. So she's like, Jeannie, here you go, I'm gifting you my coffee shop that's in this little town in the middle of nowhere. I don't remember where it was exactly, but it's this cute little pumpkin spice cafe, and she's supposed to figure out how to run a small business for the first time and make this her new life, because she had already wanted to drop her job that she had. She felt like she wasn't going anywhere with it. She wanted a fresh start and I guess a new career path. So this was an opportunity for her to do that, but she kind of just got dropped into it without any knowledge about how to run a cafe or how to run a small business in general. Being from the city, she wasn't used to having that small town vibe where everybody knows your business, everyone is already used to how everything runs in this place. So she was in for a treat basically going into this new town, and then right off the bat she meets her potential love interest. He is this quiet man and she's just very much the opposite of him, but I guess opposites attract, and then this is just the unraveling of their love story, along with her making this new town her home and wanting to be a part of it, wanting to make friends there, and wanting to be part of the community. So I really liked it. This gave you all the cozy vibes, and I was doing just as I did right now. I was serving myself a nice hot cup of tea, getting into my warm cozy blanket in my bed, getting cozy, and then picking this up was such a treat. I really enjoyed this book. So don't let all reviews deter you from reading a book. Just give it a chance. If it seems like something that you would be a little bit interested in, I would just give it a shot and either borrow it from the library or a free app like Libby. That way you don't have to fully commit to buying it. I kind of just pulled the trigger because I wanted a physical copy of this book. It's so aesthetic for the fall. I took some cute pictures of it and I was like, chef's kiss. Thank you, Pinterest, for helping me find this book. Okay, now moving on to the other one. That was a really long time for the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, but it's a really cute one, so I had to talk about it. Next up is You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Jeneva Rose. This is the cover of it. Very spooky. Obviously, I was reading this at the tail end of October, so I wanted a thriller. I wanted something fun, but I also wanted something that had to do with a romance still, because if you have ever been to my YouTube channel before or any of my social medias, you'll know that I'm an avid romance book reader, and that's mostly the category that I go for when it comes to books like this. Or I mean, when it comes to reading any book, I usually go for the romance, and for lighthearted books that don't have too much drama or anything like that. But I have read some romance books that are dramatic and like there's a lot at stake for their romance and where there's just a lot more going on. But in the end, you know, there's always the happy ending. With this book, I read the synopsis and I was like, this might be interesting to kind of venture off from that romance. So it's about this girl named Grace who decides that she is overworked, so she wants to go on a retreat and have some alone time, not think about work or anything like that. So she books an Airbnb, I believe it was in Wyoming, and this little ranch. So she is staying at like a guest room kind of Airbnb, you know, where you're going to be seeing the host there and you're just using one of their spare rooms. So that's what she ends up doing, and she ends up renting it out from this guy named Calvin. Right at the start, there's kind of like this chemistry between them. Obviously, he's very attractive, she's very attractive, and they realize that they're both attracted to each other. So they're starting off like with little flirting vibes here and there, and you slowly start seeing that one of them is more interested in than the other, and one of them is like full on going 0 to 100 with this relationship, knowing that it might not work out because of the distance. Like they live in completely different areas, like they can't just go up and pick up their whole lives and drop it for this person that they just met. But it seems like one of them is willing to do that 100%, even though they just are starting to get to know the other person, and it just gets crazier and crazier the more that you read it. I literally could not put this book down, and I was so eager to pick it back up whenever I had the chance to. And just when you think you know the plot twist for this book. It goes and takes a completely left turn and you do not see it coming, and it's so surprising. But at the same time, as it gradually gets to the end, you have an inkling that that's the direction it's gonna go to, and then when it does, you're like, oh, you're still so shocked and you can't believe it. So good. I definitely recommend this book. This was such a fun read for me, and it still has like some steamy, sexy moments, but not too like smutty or anything like that. It's mostly going to revolve around the thrilling part of it, the kind of eerie vibes that you're getting from it. Because even as I was reading it, with that certain character that I was talking about, how they were already putting their 100% into this relationship even though they just met this person, I already just reading their point of view, because it goes back and forth between the two POVs, between Calvin and Grace's POV, and there's a bunch of other characters that you're like, they're sketchy too, but I don't know why. Everybody's keeping secrets, everyone's lying, and just reading the POV of that person, you get this like icky red flag feeling, and then it goes back and forth when you're like, maybe they're not so bad, maybe they're just not used to being around the other gender, maybe they're new with relationships. So you're trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but then you feel that red flag feeling again, kind of like when you go on a first date and you're like, I'm attracted to this person, they seem nice, everything seems good, but there's just something that you can't pinpoint that's not right with them. And that's what this book is. I love this book. Both of those, I think, well, Pumpkin Spice Cafe was a 3 out of 5 for me, 3 out of 5 stars. This was a 5 out of 5 because that's how much I enjoyed it. So good. And then actually, I'm in the middle of reading a book now for November. I started a little bit early. I started like October 26th, but I'm like halfway through it. This is The Story Collector, and this one is by Evie Woods, or Evie, I'm guessing. And this one is about this mysterious local myth that takes place in Ireland. So there's this girl named Sarah who just got out of her marriage. So her marriage just ended, and she's supposed to go to Boston to meet her sister and live with her for a while until she figures out what she's going to do next, because obviously she was sharing a home with her husband, but she decided, I guess, to let him live there and she was gonna go figure it out, or maybe they were selling the place. I don't really remember. But on a whim, when she's at the airport from New York going to Boston, she gets a little bit drunk before her flight, and as she's waiting for it, she sees this newspaper article about a town in Ireland that has been protesting this road being built where this historical tree is, because they don't want to risk their town being cursed if they knock it down, because there's this mythical or like this folk tale around this tree and they can't knock it down. And of course, even though people aren't 100% believers of this curse, they rather be safe than sorry. So they go on this whole protest, and this entire road ends up being moved to a different location. So they end up rerouting the entire road, and she thinks it's crazy that something like that could happen in that day and age. And this takes place, I think, 2010 going to 2011. And so because of that little article that she saw there, and because she has roots to Ireland, like she has heritage, Irish heritage, she decides that she, you know, because she has always wanted to go to Ireland, like that was the destination she wanted to go for her honeymoon, but her husband decided that he'd rather go to the Maldives. She decides that because she has this newfound freedom from her marriage, that she's just gonna go and book a trip to Ireland last minute, not telling her sister that she's not showing up in Boston, and just books her flight to Ireland. She knocks out throughout the whole flight, lands in Ireland, doesn't even know that she did it because she was drunk. And then while she's there, she realizes she has to make all these last minute plans. Where is she gonna stay? It's Christmas Day. All of these plans that she has to do last minute, and somebody who works at the hotel at the airport ends up hooking her up at that small little town where the article took place in, and she ends up staying there. And then she ends up finding a diary of a girl who lived there 100 years ago, and that's pretty much it. It's like the telling of the fairy tales that has to do with the fairies. And as of right now, I haven't really gotten to the main plot of it, but it has something that's going to change everything in both of their lives, like 100 years apart. Her from finding out about it in present day 2011, and the girl who wrote the diary 100 years ago. So far I'm very intrigued by this book. It's very fun to read, lots of very mystical things. So very cute book. I'm halfway there. I'll have to let you guys know how this goes. I've been doing book reviews on my TikTok as well if you guys are interested. It's on my Aloha It's Brenda TikTok, so I'll have that there. Another book I recently read was a novel love story by Ashley Poston. I've quickly become a fan of this author. I read 2 of her books and I was immediately like, yes, I love this type of modern, I forgot what it's called, like magical realism or modern magic. I forgot the exact term for it, but it's basically just like where something magical happens in like modern times that is unexplainable. Like that's kind of her style of writing. So I read The 7-Year Slip and then I read this one right after that, and this one was very fun as well because this girl who had just gotten out of a really long relationship where she was even engaged to the guy, she ends up calling off the marriage, and 3 years after that happens, she is still kind of in that slump where she's still feeling sorry for herself. She doesn't know what she's doing with her life, and she feels like everyone else is moving on in their lives except for her. So she wants to keep on doing like the things that she's been comfortable doing, and one of those things is her book club with this group of friends that she met right after she called off the marriage with her ex-fiance. There's this one year where none of them can make it, but she is adamant about still going up to this cabin and doing the book club on her own, which is basically just her being up at the cabin for a few days reading all of the books that she loves to read. And there's this very specific author that she has been really obsessed with for a long time, and on her way to the cabin her car ends up having trouble, or like it starts making weird noises, and it's also like raining really hard, so she ends up pulling off to this road that leads her to this little bridge. She almost runs over a person because they're just standing in the middle of the road and it's raining, and she ends up in this little town that she slowly starts to realize is the town where the stories that she reads takes place in. So this is a fictional town that doesn't exist in real life, but somehow she ends up traveling to this place magically. We don't really know how, like it's not explained. It's just one of those things where it's like this just happened, this crazy thing happened where she ends up in the town from one of her favorite books, and she ends up meeting somebody there who seems like he is not supposed to be part of the books, because she ends up finding out that all of the characters from the book, they all exist in this town, and she finally gets to see them how the author probably had pictured them, so she gets to see them in real life and not just her imagination. But there's one character in there, this man, who she can't pinpoint. She doesn't know where in the book he's from or if he was supposed to be a new character, but she ends up falling for him, and she realizes that this is something that's going to be impossible because she thinks that she's either dreaming or that she died in her car crash, and now this is where she is. This is her purgatory or something like that. But this was such a fun read. I really liked this, and even though the romance itself seemed a little bit rushed and then the ending kind of seemed to want to wrap it up really quick, I still found it fun to just see it all kind of go through the motions, very much like a romance novel would. And you think that there won't be a happy ending, but then at the end it still kind of gets tied up like a little bow. It's a slow burner with the love story. It's kind of like, is it gonna happen, is it not? And then by the time the book is almost over, it kind of just rushes into making it happen, and you're like, oh, that feels like it kind of came out of nowhere, but okay. Really good read, very fun read. I think I gave that one a 4 out of 5, I believe. I can't really remember. But now to the books that are on my TBR. I don't know exactly when I'm gonna get to them, but I hope I can get through them soon. For November, obviously, as I said, I'm reading the storybook, or the Story Collector, and another one that I hope to read for this month is The Dead Romantics also by Ashley Poston. This is a cover, so cute. Let me read you the synopsis because I can't remember it off the top of my head. It says, Florence Day is the ghostwriter for one of the most prolific romance authors in the industry, and she has a problem. After a terrible breakup, she no longer believes in love. It's as good as dead. When her new editor, a too handsome mountain of a man, won't give her an extension on her book deadline, Florence prepares to kiss her career goodbye. But then she gets a phone call she never wanted to receive, and she must return home for the first time in a decade to help her family bury her beloved father. For 10 years, she's run from the town that never understood her, and even though she misses the sounds of a warm southern night and her eccentric, loving family and their funeral parlor, she can't bring herself to stay. Her father's gone, yet everything else feels the same, and she hates it. Until she finds a ghost standing at the funeral parlor's front door, just as broad and infuriatingly handsome as ever, and he's just as confused about why he's there as she is. Romance is most certainly dead, but so is her new editor, and his unfinished business will have her second-guessing everything she's ever known about love stories. That seems so fun, doesn't it? And as I said, I really love Ashley Poston as a writer because she always has these very unique and fun ideas. Like the 7-Year Slip, that one was about this girl who inherits her aunt's apartment after her aunt passes away, and her aunt has always told her stories about how the apartment was magic and how it could take you back in time, but she never really believed it. She believed it when she was little, but not as an adult. She always just thought her aunt was this eccentric, fun, hippie type of person, but then she actually ends up slipping in time 7 years in the past, where she ends up bumping into this guy who just so happens to be renting the apartment 7 years ago at the same time that she's supposed to be staying there. So they end up having to be roommates because she doesn't want to kick him out, and she also has to stay there. She doesn't have any other place to go, and they end up falling in love, but then it's like a predicament because he's from 7 years ago and she is from the future, so she would have to find him in present time in order for it to work. So it's a very fun concept, and I really enjoyed that book so much. So I'm really excited to read this one. This one's gonna be right after I finish this, obviously, and I'll let you guys know how this one goes as well, most likely on my TikTok. I'm excited for that one. Alright, next one that's on my TBR list is Not Like the Movies. I got this one at Half Price Books, and mostly because the cover is so cute. Like, when it comes to romance novels like this, where it's kind of a cheeky romance, it's not really smut per se, I always love a good, fun cover, something that looks really cute on my book cart. And so far I have not been disappointed, because most people are like, oh, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. But most of the ones that I've picked out just solely based on the fact that they're popular on TikTok or on Pinterest, and I just bought them because they look cute, they haven't disappointed me yet. So far I have enjoyed almost all of them, and I haven't had any complaints, so it's not always a bad thing. But let me read you the synopsis for this one. It says, what happens when your life is a rom-com, but you don't even believe in true love? Chloe Sanderson is an optimist, and not because her life is easy. As the sole caregiver for her father, who has early onset Alzheimer's, she's pretty much responsible for everything. She has no time for or interest in getting swept up in some dazzling romance. Not like her best friend Annie, who literally wrote a rom-com that's about to premiere in theaters across America, and happens to be inspired by Chloe and her cute but nonsense boss, Nick Velez. As the buzz for the movie grows, Chloe reads one too many listicles about why Nick is the perfect man, and now she can't see him as anything but reason number 4. The scruffy bearded hunk who's always there when you need him. But unlike the romance Annie has written for them, Chloe isn't so sure her own story will end in a happily ever after. So that one sounds really cute, and just another quick little fun romance read. So I'm also excited to dip my toes into this one and get this one started, but this probably won't be until I want to say December, but I'm also looking for a Christmassy kind of romance novel. So if you guys know any that might be good, let me know, because I want to pick up a Christmas themed one, because so far I have this one as an option for December and this one as another option for December, but this is also not giving Christmas vibes. But I'm excited to read this one, because as soon as I read the synopsis for this one, I was like, oh, I was so excited, and I was so enthralled into what could possibly end up happening in this book. And this book isn't too long either. This is like a little bit less than 300 pages, so you could see it's kind of small. But this one is Home is Where the Bodies Are by Jeneva Rose, and it's another thriller. This one doesn't have any romance in it. I believe it's just about a family, but this is what the cover looks like. I thought it was so fun too, because it's a little VHS tape. Isn't that so adorable? Let me read you the synopsis. After their mother passes, 3 estranged siblings reunite to sort out her estate. Beth, the oldest, never left home. She stayed with her mom, caring for her until the very end. Nicole, the middle child, has been kept at arm's length due to her ongoing battle with a serious drug addiction. Michael, the youngest, lives out of state and hasn't been back to their small Wisconsin town since their father ran out on them 7 years before. While going through their parents' belongings, the siblings stumble upon a collection of home videos and decide to revisit those happier memories. However, the nostalgia is cut short when one of the VHS tapes reveals a night back in 1999 that none of them have any recollection of. On screen, their father appears covered in blood. What follows is a dead body and a pact between their parents to get rid of it. Before the video abruptly ends, Beth, Nicole, and Michael must now decide whether to leave the past in the past or uncover the dark secret their mother took to her grave. Isn't that crazy? That's a crazy synopsis. I'm so excited to read this one. This one might just have to be on my December TBR, but I do need like a fun, cozy Christmas love story, because this is just not gonna put me in the Christmas spirit. I'll tell you that. I'm gonna be on edge just picking up the book. Hopefully. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I feel like Jeneva Rose, so far, from the one book I've read of hers, she's not gonna let me down. Let me take a sip of my tea, because I've been talking for so damn long. It's been like 30 minutes now. Hold on. Oh, my throat is parched and my tea is not hot anymore. It's lukewarm. It's okay. Cheers. Alright guys, it is 10:27 now, so I am going to stop yapping now and let you guys go. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to me yap and stumble over myself talking about these books. There are so many good books that I am hoping to pick up soon as well. Some other ones that I didn't show you guys on here, but I'll be saving those for another video. So hopefully you enjoyed this little book talk corner here in my room. A very cozy, not really a vlog, but just a chit chat with me, I guess, about books. And if you stayed all the way to this point in the video, make sure to leave a little VHS emoji. That way I know who stayed all the way to the end. Is that an emoji? I hope so. If not, I'll put something else here for you to leave. That way I know that you stayed this far in the video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye!